Hello, everyone, and welcome to the OnlyLandFans show. My name is Kendall Lejeune, and our guest today is Mitzi Dyane. Mitzi Dyane is a powerhouse real estate investor and wholesaler hailing from San Antonio, Texas. Since diving into the industry in 2016, she's navigated the market with finesse, founding Swift Sell Properties while raising three children as a single mom. With assignment fees soaring over $400,000 on a single deal, Mitzi not only excels in rehabs, owner finance deals, and wholesaling, but also mentors others on how to become trust fund babies, starting with mobile homes. Mitzi, thanks so much for joining us. How are you today?
Hey, thanks for having me, Kendall. I'm doing great.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you. Mitzi, for those of you who don't know, Mitzi and I are part of a mastermind together. And when I met Mitzi for the first time back in March, I said, I have got to interview her. She is going to bring so much value to the Only Land Fans audience. So I'm so thankful that you're on our show today. And I just can't wait to dive in.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us, how did you get started in real estate? What was that? How did that journey all start for you?
Actually, it started when I was 19. I bought my first house. I tried to when I was 16, tried again at 18, and then finally did it at 19. I moved into a flip property, fixed it up myself, and then rented it out and bought another one and did the same thing to that other one. And then I started wholesaling and didn't really realize I was. So I was like finding land and buying it and then cleaning it up over the weekend and then just reselling it. And I was like tripling my money. And I was like, why aren't people doing this? And I just was like surprised by how easy it was. And then I did that with another house too. I found it needed work and I was trying to find another buyer for it. Didn't realize I was doing that. So like fast forward, I don't know, like 13 years or something. And then I found a mentor. And I was going through the ending of a relationship, a really long relationship. And it had gotten bad. It wasn't the greatest at the end there. And I had no money. I had bald tires. I had this older expedition and I had one bank account that he still didn't know I had. So I had a little bit of money left to my name. And so I took that money and hired a mentor and was like, okay, I got to get something going. And so within 2 days of making that decision, had a mentor, and then within 23 days did my first deal and I did 50,000. So I was like, I'm a rich and
I
totally screwed
love
up.
it.
Yeah, I totally screwed up, spent all that money thinking like it was just going to keep coming in. Didn't get another deal for 4 months. And I was like pretty much crying in the middle, like in the corner, because I was like, how am I going to do this? Because I spent a lot of the money right away. I never had that much money before. So it was one of those things. And then I did another $50,000 deal and then it just started flowing after that. And of course, it took work. I just realized you had to be consistent. You can't go on vacation right when you make money. You actually have to keep the business going, get the leads going. And yeah, that's how I got started.
Mitzi, that is an incredible story. One of the things that just leaped out from the very beginning was that you said that you had this little bit of money left and you were in such a desperate situation and you decided to invest that with a mentor.
Yeah.
That is, I know a lot of people, probably myself included, I'd be like, this is my last little bit of money. Like, I need to save this to eat. What was your mindset like in terms of having the faith in that this has got to work?
It was more faith in myself.
Mm.
Like I just was like, I'm going to make this work. Like there's not a choice. So I did.
Yeah, that is huge. That is huge. And we come across a lot of different people that are looking to get started in their businesses or maybe just getting started, they're struggling and they struggle with the idea of investing in themselves. And I love the way that you put it, is that it's faith in yourself. It's not faith in the
Yeah.
mentor or faith in the
Oh no.
process, right?
Yeah, my mentor, I put a lot fire under my butt, but it wasn't that great for what I spent, for what you could get. I didn't vet very well. It was my fault. There was so I actually felt like in the beginning I wasted my money. I was super upset.
Wow.
And so, but it was because I invested that money. I had the mindset, I'm going to make this work. So it was all a great thing overall. I went through my emotions about everything, but ultimately, I'm so glad I still spent that money and I still hired that mentor. So it was, I wouldn't say, oh, just because you have a mentor that didn't produce like they had promised, then it doesn't mean that you can't. And I'm not trying to talk bad. I've had great mentors. There are a lot of great mentors, but you do need to vet your mentors. You can't just go off somebody who holds an event one time and you have never heard of them before. And then because I felt like I lost more, I was like, I got to make this happen. I just got to make this work. And I realized it was what I had already been doing anyways in the past. And I was like, I'm just going to do it. And I just jumped in. So I'm still glad that I spent that last bit of money on there. And I did need food. I did need tires. So it was like a really hard decision to make, but I knew if I buy food and tires, which I still bought a little bit of food, but I was like really pushing it. But I needed tires. So, and I didn't have registration on my car. I didn't even have gas. And I'm over here trying to drive for dollars through Google Maps. Like I was just trying to figure a way to figure it out. And I was like
Oh,
overlapping different lists I was pulling, like trying to figure out which ones do I need to really Google map. So I was really getting into the data part of it. So I wasn't wasting too much of my time. But it was a lot of like just faith in myself. So I would tell people still hire a mentor. And if they suck, and I'm not saying they sucked, maybe I'm saying it, but um, I'm just saying that it still can push you if you believe in yourself to still get the work done.
oh, I love that. So many valuable lessons in that. I truly believe in the power of skin in the game. If anything, it holds yourself accountable of like, I'm doing the thing I said I'm going to do. That's
Exactly. It's that skin in the
incredible.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. So, Mitzi, talk to us about what were some of your very first deals that you were doing? You mentioned wholesaling. Were these $50,000 deals? Were they wholesaling houses or what were they?
Yeah, actually my first one, my mentor told me not to go after it because he had been trying to go after it and couldn't get it. So I went after it anyways. And and then he said it couldn't happen because of all the liens on there. And I was like, and he was a real estate attorney. So I really thought he knew the liens that couldn't get taken off, the ones that could. I realized attorneys only know as much as they've actually done or researched. That's about
Mhm.
it. So I went ahead and I called the company, asked them about the lien, and they pretty much said I could pay it off really cheap, pretty much for whatever we sold the house for. So I put the house under contract for $10. And so there we go. And the people wouldn't have made any money anyways. That I prevented the tax foreclosure. I was able to get that lien removed and I still compensated them for their time with me. And that's how I got around it with talking to the lawyer about how do I do this.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah.
I
Uh,
love that. So
mhm.
cool. So cool, Mitzi. And so you also mentioned something that I'm sure everyone has had the experience with of like you get your first substantial deal and you're like, I'm golden forever. This is amazing. And then you realize, oh wait, I have to do it again, and I have to do it again, and I have to keep the leads flowing. So what was that like for you in terms of you went from this big high of I just made 50 grand and then now it's oh no, I'm starting from scratch again. What was that like? Hey land fans, looking for your tribe of serious land investors? Join thousands of your fellow land lovers in the Only Land Fans Facebook group. We're talking real deals, expert strategies, and game-changing connections you won't find anywhere else. This isn't just another real estate group, this is the community where land investors come to level up. Join us at onlylandfansgroup.com and join the conversation today. That's onlylandfansgroup.com. See you there.
Oh man, it was humbling because I got a little arrogant with that first one. And just to be honest, like I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna keep
On the
on
deal.
coming in. So it was humbling. It was like depressing. But I wasn't giving up. I felt like giving up. I even started like looking at Indeed. I'm like, what do I need to do? And just in case, but I was like, nope, you can't be looking at different ways to go if you're trying to go down this lane. You have to stay focused down this lane or you're going to stumble or you're going to take forever to do everything. So I was like, okay, you got to be all in. You got to be all in. You got to go down this lane. You know how focus works with the reticular activating system. Like you got to have your focus so your mind can work with you to accomplish your goals and be paying attention. So like I knew to do that. So I was like, okay, focus. It was so hard though. Like I did get in the negative right before my next paycheck, even though I made 50K, like just 4 months before that. Guys, you'd be surprised at how fast you'd spend money. But it's
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God. But it was like all those feelings. What am I gonna do?
All the things.
Yeah, all the feelings.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. And yeah, I love how you put that is that we talked about having skin in the game a little bit earlier, but that's to prove to yourself, right, that you're going to do it. But then when you start giving, it's the same idea of like when you're saying you're going to do the thing, and then you start also looking at other escape routes, like you're saying to yourself, you're not sure if you're really going to do the thing. So I love that focus. So important. So important. So Mitzi, can you talk about what are your bread and butter deals like today? So we heard about a little bit of your start, but what types of deals do you really specialize in now?
The mobile home and land flips. So I put a mobile home on land or I find it with the land already and they don't really put a value to the mobile home and it hasn't been moved, but it's something I can still remodel. So I still can get an FHA loan on it. And I just remodel those mobile homes, make them look like houses. And we go in, tape texture everything, put in new lighting, put in everything to make it look better, and then take out the bathrooms and put like tile bathrooms in the master bathroom. So that's like what we do for a typical mobile home. And it's been pretty nice. So it's about, I guess I should just say it. I don't like to say the money part of stuff, but I guess I should.
That's okay. Say the money part. We're here for it.
So one of them was like a single wide on 0.44 acres, and I made 101,000 on that one. And then another one was a double wide on an acre and a half, and I made 115,000 on that one. And then another one, I just didn't really do anything to it, and I made 68K on putting it back on the market. And everybody was telling me I really made a mistake on that one. So I think it was a great mistake.
I would do mistakes like that all day.
I've been told a lot of times that I'm making a mistake and I make really good money on it. So I'm like, I don't really listen to other people now.
I love that. I love that. If someone's listening to this and they're used to just the traditional land flip model where they'll buy for 25, sell for 50, or maybe even they're wholesaling land where they're getting proper under contract and they're flipping that contract. If someone's hearing this and they're like, wait a minute, there's an opportunity to actually incorporate mobile homes. How does someone get started if they've never done something like that before? What types of things do you look for that would make a good deal that incorporates mobile homes?
Yeah, Joe McCall, that's in our group too.
Yep,
Our mastermind.
absolutely.
I was just on his podcast talking about the same thing. He was pretty fascinated with the mobile home side of it. But yeah, the if you find a mobile home in Texas, now every state it could be different, so you got to check with your state, right? Your state area. In Texas, it's the state Texas Department of Community and Housing Affairs, the manufactured housing division. So if you're in another state, it may be something similar to that, but it's you check with them and you also check with the FA lenders and ask them what are they willing to lend on when it comes to mobile homes, what year range, how many times can it be moved. And here in Texas they will lend on anything. I think it's over 1976 or 1979. I know 1976 is when they turned into manufactured homes, and as long as it's only been moved, it can be moved from the distributor to the land once and then one more time from land to another piece of land and still qualify for FHA financing. But it has to be retrofitted, which means tied to the land and turned into real property because it's personal property at first. Now, okay, so if you do owner finance, which I like to do owner finance on the mobile homes and land, if you don't turn it into real property right away and you do the note, it's like a way to get around things, and you do the note and you still have it as personal property on there, you can get a higher interest rate on your note. And then you turn that mobile home into real property.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, very good. So once you find the FHA criteria, then what's the next step?
Then it's just putting it all together. If it's a mobile home that I'm going to move on there, then just get the mobile home movers. You do want to make sure that they're licensed with the TDHCA and they're going to pull permits. And then that's the best ones. But you're going to find some cheap ones too that come along the way, but you got to be careful about that. I've had some bad experiences, but I would recommend getting somebody that's registered through or licensed through the TDHCA or whatever division it is, and seeing if they skirt and ultra retrofit the mobile home and connect the utilities when they move it. Most of them will do all of that.
Excellent. And so it sounds like part of the business model is finding the land separately from finding the mobile home and then bringing a mobile home onto that land and then selling it as a package. Is that right?
You can do that. That isn't actually my main one. I will do
Okay.
that. So I do look for land. If I do that, I look for land that already has utilities. I don't really like to really deal with entitlement and all that. So what I do is I find mobile home communities. So you guys could do this. You can just go to Google, look for like mobile home communities where the owners actually own the land and the mobile home. It's usually like half-acre communities or quarter-acre communities. And so they already have the mobile homes on there. Go drive for dollars or go just pull the list off your county appraisal district of all the houses in that area. I usually look at a plat map and then I like start really getting to know the area. I call it my mob boss method because I'm going to know everything about every single person in that neighborhood by the
Love
time
that.
I'm done. So I know who to focus on. And then if you drive for dollars, you can see which ones need maintenance and all that. And you just start reaching out to them and letting them know that you're interested, or direct mailing them, calling them, whatever. And I do it all. So I'll call, direct mail, all of that. And I do PPL too. So I do paper leads. And you know what? A lot of wholesalers, just so you guys know this too, another golden nugget here. A lot of wholesalers and lead generation companies don't know what to do with mobile home leads. They're
Mm,
basically giving them away for free. I
wow.
don't have to pay for my mobile home leads.
Listen up, land fans. This is huge. We're bringing you the one and only Pace Morby, star of A&E's Triple Digit Flip and the mastermind behind $450 million in real estate deals. He's coming to our virtual meetup on Thursday, December 5th to share how he's applying his creative financing genius to land deals. Head to olfmeetup.com to save your spot today. That's olfmeetup.com. This is the kind of opportunity that changes everything. Wow. Okay, so talk to us about that. So you reach out to other wholesalers and say, "Hey, don't throw your mobile home leads away. I'll take them from you." And then do you pay them like from a split or a JV or how
I will, but all of them see them so useless that they just give them to me. And I'll
Wow.
be like, what do you want out of it? They're like, oh, just take it off the land because they're trying to wholesale the land. And I'm like, okay. I got like a free 2002, like 4-bedroom, 2-bath, double wide and sold it for 42,000 just because they needed to move it. And I found the buyer to move it. So I do
Wow.
that too. So I'll put like ads out saying, we move mobile homes for free. So who's trying to reach out to me? It's people that need mobile homes moved off their land. It's a nuisance for them. So if
Yeah,
it's movable, because I got to make sure it's movable, then it's in a condition that I could probably remodel it in. And
that's fantastic.
usually with those, I just find a buyer that'll move it and take care of it. I don't really do anything with those.
Excellent. And so how do you go about finding buyers for these mobile homes?
Um, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist. I talk to distributors. I'll see who also invest in mobile homes, mobile home parks to see if they're wanting to add a mobile home to their mobile home park, newer mobile home park investors, that kind of stuff. Those kind of people.
Excellent. Excellent. So when you're looking, let's go back to sourcing the deals. So when you're looking for these mobile home deals, you're looking for, does it have to be on a particular like a minimum size lot, or is it really just as long as there's a mobile home that needs some type of repairs on a piece of property and you can buy it as a package?
So it depends on that really what I can sell it for. So
Okay.
if it's still on like maybe a smaller lot, like I prefer half-acre lots and more. But if it's, let's say, like a quarter-acre lot, but I know I can sell that. Let's say it has a double wide on there and it's quarter-acre lot and I can sell it for 250. I'm still going to go in at least buy it for 100. So if I can sell it for 250, I'm trying to buy at 100.
Got it. Got it. And so how do you go about comping these mobile homes? Is it similar to a house, or what's your process for figuring out how much you can sell it for?
What's weird is they're not that much cheaper than houses. In these communities that have the mobile homes, they'll have houses too. And the houses are probably like maybe another 50,000, which is still a good amount. But if you're looking at houses at 250 for mobile homes, and then you're seeing a 3 bedroom, 2 bath new built for 300K, I'm like, that's still not that bad. I have 2 neighborhoods I've identified that I like going after, and those are the numbers in that neighborhood.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. So, can you talk to us a little bit about the $400,000 deal that was in your bio? Because I think that perks up a lot of people's ears. So, what was that deal like? What was the breakdown of that?
Okay, so I've noticed that you can make larger assignment fees when you focus on rural areas, like just right outside of big cities like San Antonio. If you come out like an hour out or 45 minutes out and you buy land or a mobile home park or so this one was a 26 unit apartment that had 8 extra acres that could be developed on. And it was in a town called Lytle, Texas. So it was actually on LoopNet, and I had a bird dog bring it to me. And she was like, "Hey, check this out." I called the broker right away. I was like, "I'll make the offer of the 800,000. Can you just take it off the market?" They're like, "Okay, as long as we get a signed contract and EMD." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so
Oh gosh, okay.
so I didn't know what I was doing. And so I went ahead and locked it up. And then I just put it on Facebook. And I got a buyer, and I didn't even know how to price it either. This is the thing, it's like you don't have to know everything. Just do it, and you're gonna learn along the way. You're gonna maybe stumble a little bit, but you may actually win too, but you're gonna learn along the way. So just do it and don't overthink it. So like and who was I gonna hurt? No one. So I put it out there for 1.2 million, and I sold it for 1.2 million like 3 days later. So
Wow.
so the deal could have fallen through plenty of times. It wasn't that easy. So they didn't tell us that their family was living in the apartment, and it was completely unfinanceable. Like we thought it was like really great occupied. Like we were asking for the rents, and they're like taking forever to get it to us. And then they're like, "Look, it's the whole family, like extended family, everything. Like it was a grandpa that owned the apartment complex. Like he had everybody living there." And I'm like, "What? There's nobody paying rent? Nobody." And even the private lenders for my buyer was like, "No, no, we're not dealing with this." And I'm like, "Okay," because we only had 60 days also to close on this deal. So it wasn't like we had a long time to do due diligence or anything. So I was like, "Okay." And then my buyer was like, "I don't think we can do this deal." And I was like, "Okay, tell me what you have cash. What can you work with? Just tell me what's going on." So he told me what he had. And so I called the seller back, and I was like, "We need to do owner finance. Now that we found out that your family is living there and it's making no income, this isn't a financeable property. So we need owner finance." And they're like, "No." And then they said, "Figure it out." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I sat there, and I'm like, just my brain's going, and I'm like, "Okay, what are they needing?" So the next day they call me, and I slept on it. Like I was just writing some stuff and I slept on it. And then the next day they called me, and I'm a big energy person. If you follow me, I'm very much about like energy, frequency, vibration, how you think, how you feel. You got to like really master all that. And so I knew that if I kept it in that my attitude is still going to happen, and not try to control everything and just be willing to receive any ideas that come to me. I'm like, "Okay." So I slept, and I got back up, and then I already had the answer. They're like, "Can you please call us? We need y'all to close sooner." I'm like, they're distressed. Okay. So I call them, and they're like, "Hey, can y'all close 2 weeks sooner? We don't have the money to pay the mortgage next. And our manager is quitting." And I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "So about the owner finance, this is what we can do. And we can close on that day." I hadn't even talked to the buyer. I'm just like, "It's happening." And I said, "And we can close on that day. Now y'all are going to be okay taking this." And they're like, "We really need a little bit more than that." And I was like, "This is what we can do right now. And in a month, we can give you another 50K or 100K or something." And they were like, okay, we can do that. And I said, and then the rest of it's going to be financed and we're going to pay you this much for the entire year. And at the end of the year, we'll do a balloon payment. And they were like, okay, yeah, let's do it. As long as y'all can close on that day. And I was like, all right. So I called the buyer and I was like, okay, so here's the terms. Like, this is what I've already negotiated. You just got to be okay with it. Do you want this deal? And he was like, wow, I can't believe you got that worked out. And I'm like, yeah, can you do these terms? And he's, yeah. And so I worked it out where I at least got 100K up front. And then at that month later, I got another 50K. And then I financed my 300K as an assignment fee or something a little bit more than that as an assignment fee. And I was getting 10% a month off that for the next year. And then they financed me out my entire assignment fee at the end. Yeah.
Wow, that is incredible. I love that. So many things to pull from that. But something that jumped out to me was the piece about energy and frequency and vibration. And I am such a, that fascinates me so much. And what I want to chat about really quick is how have you seen, this is a fantastic example, but how have you seen that manifest in other parts of your business as well, whenever you are approaching business with that piece of energy and frequency vibration?
It's always a reflection. It may have a little bit of delay, but everything is always a reflection of you and your own state of being. So I was just like, okay. So when I see things starting to mess up, like one example was recent. So I started getting in my hustle mentality, like what everybody says, and I was time blocking, and I don't normally work like that. So I'm like totally against my own grain. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna time block. Because I read this book and I'm like, I'm gonna try this. And this realtor called me and says, okay, the seller just quit their job, and it was one day before closing. And I was like, why would they quit their job or the buyer? And I was like, why would they quit their job? And this is a deal that I'm making like 115K on. I'm like, why would they quit their job? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh God, okay, we need to close on this deal. And she was like, because I was also at the end of my hard money term too. So I'm like, we got to close on this deal. And she was like, I don't know what we're going to do. Now let me get back to you, but may need another 30 days. And let me get back to you. I was like, okay. And then right after that, I got another piece of bad news. And I was like, wait, Mitzi, reflection, you're in a bad mental state right now. So, like, this is coming from you. And I'm not trying to blame everybody for their lives, but maybe your lives are a part of you and you are to blame for it. But even the people you choose to be around, everything. I was like, okay. So I went into my room and started meditating. And while I was meditating, I felt like I needed to take a nap. And I don't take naps. So that was weird. So when that happens, I do it. I just honor it. And it was not the time to take a nap either. Okay. Like it was like fires coming at me. And I'm like, I'm going to take a nap. And so I took a nap. And when I got up, all the fires had extinguished themselves. She had messaged me and said, hey, we got it. We're closing tomorrow. The other fire that came in, there was like 2 more fires that came in. They were like, oh, it's okay, Mitzi. Don't worry about calling back. Da, da, da. And we closed the next day. And it's because I reset my energy. And even when I was meditating, I was like, you got this. You can change all of this around. So get centered and quit being so chaotic, thinking you got to control everything. Because when you got to control something, it's because you're fearing something. That means you lost faith. And
Ooh.
everything is possible with faith. And I'm like, okay, I got to keep reminding myself that though. So I had
Oh
faith and
my
I took a
God.
nap.
That is so good. That is so good. And I know that this topic might feel like a little woo to some people, especially like entrepreneurs that are typically wired to make things happen. But I truly believe, and I've seen it in my own life, that there is so much to what you're talking about, this energy and frequency. And so you gave us some fantastic examples. Meditate, try to recenter yourself. When you feel yourself starting to wobble, you start seeing things not really in alignment with how you want to see them. So, can you give us a few more examples of what are some, if people are, maybe someone's listening to this and they're not really super into meditation or anything like that, but when they start to notice, okay, things are not going the way that I need them to, and I can tell I'm starting to get negative. How do you shift that frequency so it's a little bit more in alignment with what you're trying to do? If you're enjoying this episode of the Only Land Fans podcast, please let us know by subscribing and leaving a review. Now let's get back to the action.
So first off, I'm a meditation teacher, and I see some people who don't understand it think it's a bad thing, but meditation is just understanding how to master your own thoughts, being able to direct them, being able to control your thinking. And now your mind always wants to think. And so I think of thoughts like this, kind of like TV channels, and you have a TV guide and you can pick which ones you want to really focus on. And that's what you give life to. That's what's going to start projecting in front of you. So instead of giving thought to the negative channel, I gave thought to the channel that I wanted, and it gave energy to that. And then that projected in my reality. So that's how I think of it as, is we have literally a TV guide rolling through our mind at all times. And you do have the decision of which one you want to pick. Now, your emotions, though, and your body will try to auto program your picker from previous experiences. Like your programming, just like TV programming, you can program your remote. We have certain programs that we have auto programmed in our remote. So it's easier to focus on those channels because that's what we always go to. And that's like neural pathways in the brain. And so if you can take that and know that and just be like, okay, do I really want this channel to be playing in my life right now? Okay, which channel would I rather want? And it's a little difficult, yes, to go to a different route because it's like the path less traveled. So you got to machete that path down. It's a little more difficult, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. So to me, it's just like focusing on what you really want. So you give energy to that. You give life to that.
That is so good. That is so good. And I could talk about this for probably the next 3 hours because it's something that I love to talk about. And so we'll probably have you on for a masterclass in just that. But my gosh, yeah, that's a beautiful way of saying it. And I've learned at least two or three good nuggets from what you just explained. So thank you for sharing that. So Mitzi, you also mentor people on how to do the real estate business. What does that mentorship look like? Do you focus on one specific business model? Is it just like you bring whatever you want and I'll help you do it? What does that look like?
So I'm having a 3-day class coming up, by the way, in San Antonio, June 20th through 22nd. It's
Wonderful.
it's $497. It's really cheap considering all the information you're going to get. It's not like one of those events where we got a bunch of people talking and they're just like selling you on different things. We're actually going to be talking about self-directed IRAs, setting up trust, and setting up your strategy where you really are building wealth instead of being the hamster on the hamster wheel. And then the next day is acquisitions with mobile homes and land. And the third day is dispositions and exit strategies. Like we'll go over some owner finance, note buyers, table funders, like that kind of stuff too, if you're going to put those deals together. And so that you can make the most money with what deal you're doing by understanding different exit strategies. So you could really put this in play with single family, any kind of asset class really. But we're starting out with mobile homes and land. And because like it's an easier way to get in because you don't have to pay for your leads. They are really abundant. And if you know what to do with it, you can start making money pretty well. And I had a student in my last 3-day class, and he's getting 6 mobile homes closings a month. And that's not bad. He's doing pretty well right now. And then I also have a group program. And I will be promoting that at the 3-day event along with my one-on-one. The group program is more cookie cutter. It's a 8-week long program. And that's where we'll be going over mobile home and land flipping. But the idea is basically to get you a deal. I will make sure you get a deal if I have to give you a deal and tell you, just do this. There's a deal that's in my inventory. Just do this. And then basically you have to do nothing to not be successful. But I'm not saying I can guarantee people's success. Some people literally do nothing. So that does happen.
Yes. Yeah.
And so then the one-on-one is more customized because I haven't just always done mobile homes and land. I've done I've done rehabs, I've done rentals, I've done owner finance, single family, mobile homes, gas stations, apartments, hotels. I've had different experience in different asset strategies. And I just find out the person, because I love this. I also have a class called Get Your Shit Together. So I do the
Yes.
mindset stuff. The results are amazing. They're amazing. But so I mix a little bit of that in there with it, because without the right mindset, you can have all the information in the world and you won't really know how to use it. And because with
Totally.
the right mindset, you can hardly have any information and you can be successful. So it's if you're somebody who is always needing more information, thinking that's what's going to make you more successful, you probably need a mindset shift or some mindset work. But with the one-on-one, it's about identifying what kind of lifestyle do they want to live. Who are they, like really honoring yourself and understanding who you are. And that's really paying attention to yourself every moment, not being somebody who's like, F emotions, they don't matter. Your emotions are telling you everything about your truth in the moment, not about the outside world. They're telling about how you think about everything and in your previous programming and some of your hangups, your triggers. So you got to understand those things to really grow. And I think it's emotional intelligence, and that really helps you become more successful too. Go over their lifestyle, what their goals are, and then we come up with a business plan according to who they are and where they're starting and where they really want to be. And I hear people like say things, and we go over their why, and they'll be like, I want to be financially free so I can take care of my family, or I want freedom. And I'm like, okay, that's basic. Let's go beyond. Who doesn't want that? You got to ask the why 7 layers deep. Like you got to touch your soul where it almost makes you want to cry. And you're like, that's it. That's the why that you won't give up on. Because if it's just to make your family financially free, you'll just get a job when things aren't working.
Yep.
So we go deep with them, figure out like what's going on, and then create a business plan. And then I help them create a business foundation and create the business so that they actually have a business going. So I have a student in Belgium who's doing an owner finance business here in Texas.
Love
And
it.
I've got one in Dominican Republic that's partnered up with a few other students with mobile homes, and they're all working together to do mobile homes all around Texas. And so it's really cool to see how they're all coming together too, to figure out their stuff. But it just depends on the person on the one-on-one. But I'm like one of those not cookie cutters on the one-on-one. I'm going to actually help you find a business that will fit you, that you'll be happy with.
That's beautiful. I absolutely love that. And it sounds like you have such a wide array of experience in working with different types of entrepreneurs. So, what are some of the most common challenges that you see when someone is brand new to the industry or they're brand new to the business model of maybe like land and mobile homes? What are some of the most common challenges that you see people face when they're just getting started in that particular business model?
For the mobile homes and land,
Yes.
not following instruction. Because
Wow.
if they just follow what I tell them to do, it's almost like, to me, you almost have to try not to be successful. Just do what I tell you to do. Don't try to see beyond 5 steps and be like taking all 5 steps at once. You're going to stumble, you're going to fall. Be okay. There's a book, Chop Wood, Carry Water. Be
Mm.
okay building your foundation. Be okay building those skills and taking the time you need to do that. You don't need to be speed racer over here and you don't even know how to talk to somebody on the phone. And you got to figure out like what's good for you. What are you good at? So there's going to be some skills to develop, and you've got to be okay with that kind of like constructive feedback of saying, hey, you need to get better on the phone. Like, here's some videos to check into so you can start learning some techniques or whatever. And because you can't expect to be the greatest and you don't even have the basic skills. So
Yeah, that's
it's just
really good.
following, yeah, it's just following the instructions.
Follow the instructions.
Yeah,
I
follow the
love it.
process before you try to change it.
Oh gosh, yeah, that needs to be like on a poster in everyone's office, I think, including mine. I need that reminder as well. So Mitzi, can you mentioned this earlier, we briefly touched on this, but if someone wanted to go out and get their first like a mobile home land deal this week, what would you tell them to do? What would some action steps be that you would advise them to do?
Reach out to local wholesalers and see if they have any mobile home land deals they don't know what to do with. call mobile home parks and see if they're trying to get rid of any of their mobile homes. Get on Facebook Marketplace and see which mobile homes are on Facebook Marketplace and start making offers of like half price and just keep following up.
Love it. Love it. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. That was fantastic. So, shifting gears a little bit, what would you consider to be your superpower?
The way my mind puts all these things together that a lot of people don't see. Like I have amazing problem solving skills. So like
Mm.
when most people are freaking out, that's when I'm like turn on and I'm like, okay. That's like my calmest state of being is like when everything's like going on around me and I'm like, I got this. I know how to, and it just starts coming to me like exactly what I need to do next. And I have a lot of different experience to be able to bring to it. I was a financial advisor also for a while. Yeah, it's a problem solving.
Love it. Love it. What is your personal definition of success?
Honoring yourself in every moment, being authentic, and really living life that allows you to be that way.
Mm. Oh, that's good. That is really good. Where do you see the real estate market going in the next 6 months? And how are you pivoting to thrive in those upcoming market shifts?
I like a website called FHFA.gov. It's not FHA.gov, it's FHFA.gov. It has the housing pricing index, it has updates on lenders, it has a lot of cool stuff. If you just log in, it has like some information you read right away and you can see what's going on with the housing market. What I noticed is affordable housing, and you didn't even really have to read that website to know this, but affordable housing is becoming more scarce. And I think that affordable housing is going to be more needed and is going to be more in demand. Same thing. But so that's where I would focus. That's why I actually shifted to mobile homes about a year and a half ago, was because of that. Yeah. I've been
That's
doing that just in the last year and a half. It's been a very nice add on to my business.
beautiful. I love that. What's one thing in the land space that you think we're not talking enough about that we should be talking more about?
Utilities. I don't know. I do. Another opportunity is industrial parks. There's not enough of them. And
Mm.
in the land space, if you guys are getting land off of like major highways, especially like from Mexico going through Texas, like HEB, if you think about it, everything's being delivered these days, and even food. So you've got more grocery delivery and all of that. There's not enough refrigerated parks or even just industrial parks to store all that. So if you got land and you got investors, you can make quite a bit of money. So one of my students, by the way, he went after some land deals, and I told him, sell the idea, not the deal. That's how I teach people. Sell the idea, not the deal. And so he sold the land with the idea of an industrial park. He made $877,000 as an assignment fee on that 6 acres. and
Whoa.
and then
Whoa.
he helped build the industrial park and made another 1.2 million off of it.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Then the investors who want more actually offered him a job making $2 million a year just building their industrial parks. And he turned them down because he makes too much money to accept that offer. And so he was like, Mitzi, he's been trying to get me more into the industrial park section of things, being like, just find land on these areas. Let's do industrial parks. The money is insane. And if you have the right setup, and he already has buyers, like they're like, they can't find enough, like Mexican buyers, like people from different countries, all kinds of, so the money is great. Like he built that facility. They built it all together for 5 million and the LOI was for 15 million. And it only
Wow.
took him 6 months.
That is remarkable. Wow. Do you have a quick short bullet list of properties that may work well for these types of industrial parks?
Yeah, try to find something off of a major highway or right off of it that has easy access. And that's pretty much it. It could even be in a little bit more of a remote area because they still got to store the stuff along the way, especially so you just have what I would recommend is start talking to the buyers and seeing where they need it to be. and even to the city council, not city, you talk to your city too and ask them. I forgot who we were talking about. I think it was the city commissioner, and he was telling us where they needed more of those. So we were looking for land in that area. So you can also ask them, and they were all willing to offer like some tax incentives, or they were offering, I can't remember all the details now. We had 100 acres, but they were offering us some kind of incentives if we went ahead and did what they were asking us to do. So you can do that too.
That's incredible. And what types of buyers, where would we find these buyers that are looking for industrial parks?
I could connect y'all.
Perfect. Let's do this.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So but are these major corporations that are looking for industrial park opportunities, or
Some of
are
them.
we going to sign this on, are we going to find these types of buyers on Facebook Marketplace, or is it really like a connection, like who kind of thing?
You may find some that are smaller. Like I see somebody ask me about Logan Fulmer. Logan's never been my mentor, but he's definitely been one of my buyers.
Logan's a great guy.
Yeah. And then, but Logan, he does more industrial parks and warehouses right now too. And he's more of he's not a small investor, but he's a smaller investor compared to the industry. And so he's on Facebook. He would buy it off Facebook. So you do have people like that on Facebook, but your bigger ones are not going to be on Facebook. They're going to be more like you find them through the masterminds. And like Jack Bosch, I was talking to him about the industrial parks at one of our masterminds, and he's a big land flipper. Jack.
Yep, yep, he's been on our show.
Yeah. Just talking to other land investors and just telling them the idea too. They get pretty interested.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. So many opportunities, Mitzi, from mobile home parks to industrial parks. And I think what kind of grabs everyone's attention is like these really huge assignment fees, right? Because I think a lot of people, including myself, think that when you're talking about really big money and land, you're thinking about, at least the first thing that comes to my mind is subdivide or entitlement, some type of value add like that. But those are also really super long cash conversion cycles sometimes. But if you're talking about 6 months for an $870,000 assignment fee or $1.2 million exit, that's not like some pretend money there. That we're not talking monopoly money. Like this is real stuff. That's incredible.
I think he made the 877,000 in 30 days or 60 days. And then he
It
made the
just keeps
1.2
getting better.
in 6 months. Yeah.
Wow. My gosh. Okay. Note to self, we're going to be turning on the industrial park uh, lead generation funnel. I love it. So cool. So cool. Thank you for sharing that with us. Who are some of your favorite entrepreneurs or thought leaders, maybe authors that you like to read or that you follow?
Mm, so he's passed away, but my favorite one is Dr. Robert, what? David R. Hawkins. I don't know where I was going with that. He has a
Mm.
book called Power versus Force, and it's got a chart in there that shows it actually outlines your emotions and the vibration beside it. And he was a psychologist and a medical doctor. So he figured this out, how to measure the vibration of emotions. And it's science, it's actually science. And then it talks about your life view and how you're thinking to have that emotion. And so I like it just because I understood by reading it and really diving into that book, whereas most entrepreneurs are stuck in this hyperactivity section. And that's why they're like, hustle, always be hustling. And it's this stage of pride, desire, and anger, actually, is those three. And it's like a pendulum of you make money and you lose it. You make money and you lose it. It is this constant, you never feel like you can get ahead no matter how much more money you make. And as long as you're staying in that stage, you're never going to get above it. And courage is actually the motion right above that you have to step into. And then willingness, acceptance, neutrality, reason, and it goes up from there. So it's called Power versus Force. And then he has another one called Letting Go, The Pathway to Surrender. Amazing book. Amazing book. You don't have to meditate, you don't have to do yoga, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that, you don't have to do all these spiritual practices, and he like outlines it all. And it's just really just being real with yourself and just honoring yourself. And when I say honoring yourself, it's not just like it's honoring your boundaries, it's honoring your real thoughts, honoring your emotions in that moment, honoring who you really are. in that moment, in every moment. Because a lot of times we reject ourselves in different moments because we don't think that we're good enough, or we think there's an emotion we shouldn't be having, or there's a thought we shouldn't be having, or whatever is going on with us, we reject it. And so I think that this letting go, the pathway to surrender, is surrendering to what is, and like who you really are, and like letting go of all this stuff. Because like you make up trauma because you actually have to go back to the past to even think about it, for it to even be real right now, because it doesn't exist anymore. And it's
So
just stored in
good.
the body somewhere because you didn't process that emotion, because there was some kind of shame or some kind of thought about it that wasn't okay for you to accept in the moment.
Ah,
And so
so
I love all of his books. He's got 7 books. I've read them all. And I also like Chop Wood, Carry Water, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I read so many books. I'm like gone blank now for the rest of them.
you've given us a great list to start with, and I can attest letting go is fantastic. I have read clips or different excerpts of it, and thank you for reminding me I need to go back and read the full thing cover to cover again, because it really is some powerful stuff. Really good.
Oh, I'm glad
So
you've
Mitzi, oh yeah, yeah, it's so good. Again, we're going to have you back on so we can talk about all the emotions and frequencies and all that good stuff.
seen
So, if you could go back and tell yourself 3 pieces of advice when you were just starting out in the real estate space, what would they be?
I keep the leads coming. Spend all your money at once. I did invest into another mentor though, too. Invest into a mentor. That would be another one. They will help you reach success faster. And then stay humble. And when I say stay humble, some people confuse that with being self-conscious or acting like you don't have anything to offer. No, the world needs to know what you have to offer, but don't think at all. Be willing to learn from everybody.
Oh, that's so good. So good. Mitzi, what's your biggest passion or goal you'd like to achieve at this point in your life?
I have a few. So
Let's hear them.
I actually want to get my book finished. It's called How to Become Lucky: Ancient Secrets We All Should Know. And
Oh, take my money right now. Like I need that. I need that book.
and getting my community for Get Your Shit Together really growing and going. And then I'd like to do a wellness center that I start franchising out, but that really focuses on true health, not just medicine. And I just rent it out. I just want the commercial spaces, but have the idea come to life by who I choose to rent it out to.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that. Mitzi, I want to thank you so much for giving to us today. You've been so generous with your time. How can we give back to you right now? What types of connections or resources are you looking for right now?
I'm always looking for private money and to do more deals. Um, and then I'd love just to help people teach and just help people elevate in life. I feel like sometimes we just don't know, and just a little bit of information really can help us out, especially the mindset stuff. So if I can help somebody with the mindset or with understanding real estate better, I'd love to do that too.
That's incredible. And if someone wants to reach out to you, they have gobs of private money, or they just want to be able to reach out to you, how can they get in touch with you?
If you have gobs of money, I can give you my cell phone. No, it's Mitzi Dyane on Facebook. I think it's Mitzi Dyane, and I do have 2 because I got hacked, but I got the last one back recently. So one of them, I'm wearing a yellow dress, and that's the one that I'm active on. So I need to change the last one. But both of them, you can get a hold of me. There's a form on both of them in the bio. Just fill out that form, and I'll get back to you. And then also Instagram, same form on there too. So there's a little form that you can fill out and get a hold of me.
Excellent. We will put all of your social contacts into the show notes. Also, the links for your 3-day event coming up. That's super exciting. We'll also put that in the show notes as well. Thanks so much, Mitzi. This has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for blowing our minds. Thank you, everyone, for joining us and for asking so many fantastic questions. The conversations are always better whenever we have people enriching the conversation. So thank you so much. Mitzi, again, you are an absolute phenomenon. Thank you for joining us and sharing all of your wisdom today. So we will be back on for Only Land Fans Thursday. We have 2 interviews this week. That's right, 2 interviews. Our next interview will be Thursday. And looking forward to seeing you then. Until then, take care, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye. If you're interested in hearing from other seven-figure land flippers about how they've started and run their businesses, then join us at OnlyLandFans.com. Looking forward to seeing you there.